In this section, we're going to look at manipulating rows and columns within Excel. So let's say you want to insert a row. So let's go and click here. So we'll click within the worksheet and we'll click here on row 6. So I move the mouse pointer to here until it changes. So basically I click over the 6. If I click there, that selects this row. Now if I want to insert a row, it's really straightforward. Once I've selected a row, I just right click over the selected item. I go to insert and there you are, there's the extra row. So let's say I want to type in a new country here. So I can type in some data. And there you are. So I've got this new row for Ireland along with its data. In a similar way, let's say you want to insert a column. If I move up here to where it says C and notice the mouse pointer changes from this to this, if I click, that selects this column. If I right click over the selected column and click on insert, as you can see that inserts a new column to the left of the original column I selected. So here I could do sales for 2013, and again I could put some data in. And there we go. So that's how you insert rows and columns. So the next thing is, how do you delete rows and columns? Well, again, very straightforward. Let's say I wanted to delete the row for Ireland here. I would click here to select the row. I'd right click over the selected row and then I just click on where it says delete, and there you are, it's now gone. In exactly the same way, let's say I wanted to delete this column for the sales for 2013. I'd move up to here and click, so that selects the entire column. I right click over the selected column, click on delete, and there you are, it's gone. Right, the next thing we'll look at is how to modify things like column widths. So as you can see, if I click here on the C column, I can select it. If I want to change the width here, I can right click over the selected column, and from here I can go to column width. If I click on that, it's now set at 12.86. If I want to change that to say 20, just to illustrate the effect, and click on OK, as you can see it's now much wider. There is an easy way of doing this. This is now obviously too wide, so what I can do is move the mouse pointer up to here. Now it normally looks like that. If I move it up to here, can you see it's got a different shape? If I press the mouse button down and drag either this way, so now it's a little bit too narrow, or indeed that way, so it's too wide, but basically that's how you can change the column widths. So let's say I wanted to do that for column B here. I would move the mouse pointer till it changes like so, drag, and when I let go of the mouse button, there you are, it's changed. It's important to be able to do this because sometimes you might receive an Excel workbook from somebody else. It might look like this, in which case you'd need to tinker around with it so you can actually see the data okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to purposely mess this up a bit. So I'm going to make that too narrow. I'm going to make this one too narrow. I'm going to make that one way too wide. And this one I'm going to make too narrow. So basically I've got a messed up workbook now. I can't really see the data properly. Now an easy way of sorting this out is to basically click here, and what I'm going to do is to drag across here so I can select all of these different columns. So let me do that again just to show you. I clicked up here on the B, I pressed the mouse button down and I dragged across to select multiple columns here. So I've selected all the columns containing data. If I go to any one of these items here, which is the line between the columns, and if I double click, look what happens. It automatically resizes everything. So let me press the undo key and show you that again. So this was how it looked originally, all messed up. So I clicked here and just dragged across to select all the relevant columns. And you go to any one of the little lines here that separate the columns. It doesn't really matter. So if I go there or there or there, same difference. And if I double click, that automatically resizes everything to accommodate the data within the cells. Now you've seen how to modify the widths of the columns in the same way you can modify the widths of the rows. So you can do it individually. So let's click the row for India here. If I right click, I can go to where it says row height, and from there I can type in anything I want, like maybe 30, just to illustrate the point. So as you can see, that row for India now is now much taller. I'll click on Control Z, which is the keyboard shortcut for undoing things. This time what I'm going to do is I'm going to click in row 4 and drag down to row 12. So I select all of those rows there. If I want to, I can right click over the selected area, go to where it says row height, and let's change that from 15 to 30 just to illustrate the point. Click on OK, and if I click outside that to release it, as you can see, each row is now much taller. Another way of doing this is if I click here in row 4 and just drag down to row 12, what I can do is just simply drag one of these things like so. If I drag, say here, down, as you can see, that applies to all the selected rows. So let's go back here, let's drag back up again to maybe there, and again that's applied to all the rows, and we'll make it a little bit smaller still. So there we are, more or less back to where we started.